Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is a group of some pro tips that I'm going to share in Figma. Why I'm doing this is because I have observed a lot of people making some mistakes while using Figma, specifically Figma, not other design software. And I would like you to boost your workflow and realize what small tweaks you can make in it so that your workflow gets faster and quicker. The first pro tip that I have for you is that forget groups, start using frames. I'll explain in some points and some example that why you should use frames instead of groups specifically in Figma. Okay, so here are some reasons why. I would want you to take a look at these points but not get very overwhelmed by these points. I'll explain everything in detail. So the first thing is that groups are not containers, whereas frames are containers by default in Figma. What I mean by that is whenever you put some elements in a group, it is containing those elements, but you cannot tweak the properties of that container itself. Whereas in a frame, you can tweak the properties of that container that contains those elements. I'll explain why. Okay. So this is the first thing that I'm going to tell you. Scaling is one of the other properties, but these are two similar looking elements, right? It has an icon, it has a text. This is a bottom navigation tab basically that we see in Android apps or iOS apps. This one is inside a frame. This one is inside a group. What are the differences? Let me show you. So when I reduce its size, you see that these two elements are maintaining their center position. Whereas in a group, I'm not able to do that. Why? Because group doesn't have the constraint properties. So you see that constraints are only visible when you click on elements which are inside a frame. Whereas if I click on an element which is inside a group, I'm not able to see those properties and hence I'm not able to alter its position relative to the size of the container. And the second thing is that you see here that this is my bottom navigation tab. Let me just bring it up. There are only two elements inside it. One is the home icon and the other is the home text. Whereas in this one, I have a home text, home icon and a rectangle that acts as a background. Okay, so in a frame, you don't have to add a separate rectangle or a separate element that would act as a background element. All right. So this is why I prefer frames, and I mean you should also do that. But if you have been using groups, there's no problem. You can easily switch between a group and a frame from here. Okay, so you can switch between a group and a frame here. Also, one other thing is that whenever you reduce or increase the size of a frame, you can see that whatever the height and weight, height and width of this element is, it doesn't get altered. All right. So you can see that it isn't getting altered, whereas in a group it is getting altered and it is changing into point values, which is not recommended in design, or whenever we hand it off to developers, it is not recommended. All right. And even if I reduce its height, you will be able to see some weird point decimal values being introduced. Okay. So that is why I would suggest you use a frame instead of a group. So how can you use it? Say I have these two elements and I want to put them in a container. So the simplest way would be to add a group, but I don't want you to do that. I would want you to replace a shortcut that you have been using all along and add one more key to it. If you're using Windows, just add Alt to it. And if you're using a Mac, you just have to add Option to it. What I'm talking about is just select these two elements and instead of pressing Command or Control G, just press Control Alt G or Command Option G. Okay, this would add a frame. And what I would want you to do now is that add a color to it. This is how easy it is. And if you want to scale this frame, so this is pretty much acting in the way I wanted it because these constraint properties are set to center. I would just change this to center as well, so that whenever I scale it according to height, it doesn't get altered as much, right? So these two elements will stick to the center no matter how much I increase it. And if I want them to stick to the top left and so top and left, I can do that as well. This is for another video. I'll explain how constraints work while I talk about prototyping and some other auto layout elements. So this is how you can do it. So if I change it to a group now, we'll be able to see that the background is gone because I'll have to add another rectangle to it which supports the group as a background. Whereas in a frame, I didn't have to do that. I just had to add a fill color and I can add any fill color. In a group, you can do that. You can add a fill color, but that would affect all the elements. Say I add a 00, okay? So it will affect all the elements that have color. So in a frame, only the background gets added. All right. So this is one element why you should use a frame instead of a group. The next one is that it helps you in layering. Okay, so take for example, you have an image and you have to add a gradient on top of it. What would you do? You would create a rectangle, you would add an image in it, and then you would create another rectangle, you would add a gradient to it, right? Let me show you the conventional way of doing it and then the frame way of doing it. Okay, so I will choose a rectangle. By the way, if you start using frames, it will replace using an ellipse and a rectangle for you, because you can add a rounded corner to the frame itself. And all the properties that can be applied to a rectangle or a circle, not the properties of arc or other layered properties, but basic properties like corner radius, stroke, effects can all be added to a frame very easily. Okay, so I am creating a rectangle, then I'll use the plugin Unsplash. I'll add an image to it. Okay, right. So in Figma, it is very easy to layer these different properties. Okay, but what if, so this is not contained. Okay, I cannot use it anywhere. I'll have to place it inside a frame or an artboard, which is what it is called in other design software like Sketch and Adobe XD. Unless and until I don't place it inside any other container element, I cannot use it in design. All right, but if you use a frame, all you have to do is just go to plugins, Unsplash, and then add an image in it. Okay, this is how you can do it so easily. And you can also layer these effects. You can change the gradient, and you can add as many layers on top of it as you want to. Okay, but in case of a group, if you made it a group, you'll have to add another rectangle element inside it, and then add an image on top of it, and then add another rectangle for gradient, which is not true in Figma, but this is how you can reduce the number of steps or reduce the number of layers by using only one frame. So in a group, you'll have to add a rectangle and then add an image, but inside a frame, you can add an image to the background of the frame itself. Okay. And the next property is that you can easily use it for responsive design. So I have made use of constraints over here. All right. So this is a frame. Okay. And this is the iPhone 11 Pro screen. If I want to make it for some other phone, what I'll have to do is, so I have set some constraints over here. Inside all of these, I can nest frames as well. Frames are very light and you can nest them as deep as you want. So if I want to change it to say a pixel design, all I have to do is change this frame to Google Pixel, and you can see that it is maintaining the spacing from left and right. This is a concept, or this is a topic for one of the videos in the Pro series, but you can see how easily I was able to do it just by changing the frame size. Whereas if this was a group, and now if I change it, so you can see the spacing is 37, 47, now it is 42 and 42. If I change it to pixel size, you'll be able to see that there are a lot of things that didn't change, right? Because it's a group, it's not a frame. There are certain elements inside which are a group, but not all the elements inside it are a group. Okay, so this is how you can easily shift between different screen sizes. All you would have to do is apply constraints and then change the frame size or change the device name from the drop down here. And this will help you save time when you are designing for say Android and iOS devices as well. Frames come in very handy at that point. One of the most important parts is when you have to prototype something, right? In other software, what you'd have to do is you'd have to create a different artboard, then add a rectangle on top of it, add a gradient to it, which will act as an overlay, and then add the element that you want to show as a pop-up, right? But in Figma, this works differently. In Figma, prototyping works differently. What I mean by that is, if I click on this card, if I go to prototype, and I draw out a handle out of it, you can see this is a group, but this is a frame. Frame can act as a single entity or an independent item or an independent screen, which is why I am able to link this interaction to that frame and not to the group. So I can link it to this and I can add a overlay. So this I will cover in a prototyping pro tip video. And simply I can add an overlay to it. Given it was a frame, it was a group instead of a frame, I'll not be able to link it as a prototype or link it as a separate pop-up. So as you can see here, I'll just play the prototype for you once so that you are able to understand what I mean by that. When I click on it, this pop-up appears, right? But if it were a group, I'll not be able to do that. This frame can act as a modal which you can use across many screens, okay? And the last property or last benefit of using frames is that if you create two frames, if you have some frames in place already, so if you are using some properties in this frame and if you want to migrate those properties to this frame, all you have to do is right click, go on copy properties, right click on this frame and click on paste properties. Or you can use the shortcut Control Alt C or Command Option C and then Command Option V or Control Alt V. So this is how easily you can copy the properties between different frames. Right, so these are some tips on how you can boost your workflow using frames. You'd have to just change all the groups that you have to frame, or just start using the shortcut Control Alt G or Command Option G instead of Command G or Control G. And making these small changes will really help you boost your design process and boost your overall speed of design, right? And you'd have to care about less things such as what if while handing off my design has some decimal points, or what if my design has some flaws in it which I am not able to identify. But frames will help you identify some of those flaws, and auto layout will help you scale them up even more. Okay, so these are some points that you can use, and I hope I was able to cover all of these, and hope you use this approach in your design process so that it becomes easy for you to design screens. Yeah, so that was it from this video. I hope to see you the next time. I'll be coming up with these videos quite regularly, and I organize some sessions with Friends of Figma, New Delhi, which I'm an advocate of. So you can connect with me on Instagram and LinkedIn. All the links will be in the description. And thank you for watching. See you next time.